It's the SDG Podcast. Before we get started, you can check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com/podcast or find us on all the social medias, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Solution Design Group. Welcome, gentlemen, to the podcast. Today we've got Ian Remembera and Peter Lawrence may be joining us. He had a customer emergency, so customers come first, and we may see him or not. But today we're going to talk about kind of Minnesota summer culture, and since we're coming kind of to the end of our summer, and we could talk about other seasons as well. But the first thing I have is a quiz, a Minnesota quiz, and it's how many of these things did you do? So just say yes or no as I go through. And for us, our season kind of starts with OSN. Did you go to OSN? Yes.
I got the t-shirt on right now. So
yeah,
you know I was there.
All right.
There we go. That's evidence.
Yeah.
Opening the cabin and putting in the dock. Is that something that, I don't know. I don't have a cabin, so I didn't do it. But I used to do that for my parents.
Nope.
I haven't done that.
Opening fishing. Did you go to opening fishing?
Week after I went fishing.
Week after. Okay. Yeah, opening fish. Was it? I don't know.
It's always. Oh, here's the thing about
it's Mother's Day
fishing. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
The DNR really does not like the mothers in Minnesota. They send all their husbands, children's. Well, maybe they have something. They send all the fishermen out to go fishing.
Yes.
And they can't be there for Mother's Day. Maybe that's a little break for mom.
Right. That's the best gift you can give her is your absence, and just let her chill. My mom likes to get the visit, and I'm not big into fishing, so I usually head up there for Mother's Day. Did you go up north? Anywhere up north?
Went over to the SDG cabins up at Grandview Lodge in Niswa, Minnesota.
Ian, did you get up there?
Not to the SDG cabins. However, I did go to Duluth.
Nice.
I think it was like maybe a month ago. I was up in Duluth, so I'm sure that counts as up north.
Yes.
Up north kind of depends on where you live, but if you're north of Iowa and you go any further north, you're going up north.
Yep. So yeah, definitely.
And when
How'd
you
you
go
like
to the
Duluth?
city, if you go to the city, you're always going to the closest bigger city. Yeah, we're going to go to the cities.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it depends. It could be Minneapolis, St. Paul. Did you take time off for the holidays this summer? We had, 4th of July. I took that week off. Maybe you take time off for Juneteenth or any other holidays. Did you do anything special?
Yeah. July 4th. Yeah, my mom was in town actually from Tanzania. So July 4th, we're down in Ohio. So I traveled for July 4th. I didn't take the whole week off. I believe it was like the last 2 days. So I did take July 4th and I believe the day after that, something like that.
My folks rented a house, Airbnb, in Big Sand Lake in Wisconsin. And it's so beautiful up there. It was for their 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy. And they've been bickering the whole time. So have you gone to any outdoor music events, festivals, or concerts?
Personally, I did. I did. And when I was in Duluth, actually, it was an outdoor festival. It was a reggae festival. I also attended the day that we went to the Saints game. There was an outdoor music festival, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like a couple blocks from the stadium. So there's also that. So I spent a couple minutes there as well. So those are the two that I've attended this summer.
Awesome. Paul?
Nothing outdoors. I did go see a comedy show last weekend, actually, and we had a pleasant surprise. We planned to eat at a restaurant in Minneapolis, and our organizer, just on a lark, said, "You know what? I want to see if there's a table for, I think it was 8 or 10 of us over at Awamni." And wouldn't you know it, there was. So that was my first time going there. It was a magnificent time.
I saw the Australian Pink Floyd. I think that was in the spring, and that was indoors. Have you been to a farmer's market or a roadside vendor of vegetables and sweet corn and that kind of stuff?
Personally, no.
Bad. I feel bad saying that. No, I didn't.
Have you been gardening? No, I have not.
See, I'm not big with cooking. Honestly, I feel well, I do like to eat. There's that part. I'm not gonna lie about that. When it comes to cooking, not really my cup of tea. I cook sometimes, mainly because I have to eat, but not like for the final thrill of it. There's people out there who have a passion for cooking and trying different meals, and the food gotta taste so good. So I love that, but I just don't have the passion for the work behind it. I have the passion for the work after it, but not the work before it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I have the passion for the for the work,
So
all that stuff.
That kind of hits the, have you grilled, used your smoker, smoked meat?
Yes.
All that stuff. Okay. Excellent.
Yes.
Ridden a bicycle or hiked anywhere?
Yes.
Nope, not this summer, no.
No? Okay.
Nope.
Did you go and walk around the lakes?
I did that, yeah.
Have you been to a baseball game? I was at the Saints game.
Yeah.
Game?
I was
Saints
too.
Game. Well, over there. It was fun.
Twins game? Any Twins games?
Twins game, no.
Paul, you were just at the Twins game.
I was
2 days ago.
Just 2 days ago, yeah.
Yeah. Bonnie Water Canoe area.
Nope.
No? Not this year.
Never. I need to.
Did you do the neighborhood block party thing? I live on a street of shut-ins. I don't know if we had one or not. No one leaves their house. Do you feel you've reclaimed some of the life side of the work-life balance equation?
I feel that I have. Ian, have you?
Elaborate on that a little bit.
So work-life balance is you have a job, but you also get to have a life. So you try to balance those things. So you're not working like all the time. You get home, you're not thinking about work all the time. You have other goals and things like that. Typically in the summer is when we kind of reclaim some of that, because fall and winter is when we get really busy. Also, there's a very short window in Minnesota of really enjoying the weather and being outdoors and that kind of stuff. So you have to make the most of it. Did you sit on the patio at a bar or restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
Yes,
definitely.
Does a rooftop count as a patio?
It absolutely does.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
All right. Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
Are you planning on going to the state fair?
Oof. When is that?
Yes.
In a couple of weeks it starts, I believe.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be there.
Little plug for the AI group. They're planning to go to the state fair after the AI group next Wednesday.
Oh,
I'm sorry, a week from Wednesday.
Okay. And the last two are fall. Renaissance Festival is more of a fall item. Apple Orchard is more of a fall item. There's summer food, rhubarb, fresh berries, locally grown tomatoes. I look at this as BLT season because that's when the tomatoes start coming out. So the reason for all of this is kind of to highlight that Minnesota has kind of a special summer culture. I know that parts of it exist in other states and things like that, but there's a lot of stuff that we do during the summer to kind of enjoy life before we get back to putting our shoulders to the grindstone when weather permits. We're not going to do indoor guitar jams in the summertime. A lot of fall activities, things like that. And that's kind of our culture and an add-on to people that have other cultural things they do that we share. That's kind of cool. And that's kind of why I love living here. And I think it's, despite the winter, the summers are what keep us here, I think.
I would beg to differ. I think the weather year-round is wonderful. I appreciate the change of seasons. And the summers are delightful. I'll be the one who will say winter's not that bad.
I don't mind winter as long as I have a good vehicle that has four-wheel drive or front-wheel drive and I've got good tires, because that's the biggest pain for me is the driving, but I don't have to drive that much. I just don't want to get stuck. My last car was one wheel that spun in the back of the car and had a lot of torque, and that was just not fun to drive in the wintertime. That was not a good winter. So fall is probably my favorite time of the year because it's a relief from, but it's, I don't know, it's been a lot milder this summer.
I like the fall that it's cooler, but it messes with you because you could start off with a 40-degree morning, but by the time you hit the afternoon, it could be 70 degrees. And then towards the evening, it'll work its way back towards that 40. There's not a whole lot of clothes you can wear that would keep you comfortable in all those temperatures. Yeah, you got to be on your feet.
Layers, man. That's the trick is layers. You got to have your 40-degree clothes on, but a jacket, maybe a sweater. That's the secret. But there's also this thing where you get used to the the temperature. Gets down in the 40s, we're all bundling up at first. And then when it gets down, when it's in the 40s in January, we're cutting holes in the ice and swimming. Maybe not to that extent. But
isn't that weird though? Like that 40 degree in the fall feels super cold. Because you're accustomed to I think it's because you're accustomed to the warmer weather. But coming out of like a January or February when it's been below zero, you hit that 40 degrees. You're right. It's like, yeah, let's go outside. Let's enjoy this.
I did a bunch of research about some things like how does work change? How does it change for, being consultants or working whatever job? I know how it changes if you work road construction, but more flexible, more casual dress codes. It seems you see more shorts and flip-flops. See the rest of the year. Increased use of vacation time. It's PTO season.
Is that the summer or the winter?
I went back to summer. Sorry.
Okay. Summer.
These are just changes that happen in the workplace. Air conditioning becomes critical. So I've been working with our building maintenance team to find the sweet spot in the office temperature so that John is not turning into a popsicle and I'm not melting.
Yeah.
So
have you found it?
I think we're close. Yeah. But there were some days where I had to go and buy a pullover SDG sweatshirt because I was freezing. And if I'm cold, it's way too cold for other people.
Way too cold.
Productivity fluctuates with weather.
That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're stuck indoors, but if there's stuff to do outside, maybe you're not as productive. I don't know. People working outside, Teams calls where you can't see the person because they're being blasted by the sun. Yeah, just I think more fun types of events. This was interesting. Increased sick days in the summertime. And they attribute that to outdoor activities. And then more emphasis on workplace wellness programs. That's kind of the work stuff. And then I pulled up some odd facts about summers in Minnesota. The mosquito population peaks at 17 trillion.
It's a lot of them.
That means if you had $1 for every mosquito, you'd have $17 trillion.
But that's just in Minnesota or like the whole of America? We're just talking about Minnesota?
Minnesota. Lake water levels drop an average of 3 inches.
Okay.
Ice cream sales increase by 300%. 60% of annual tourism occurs in that 3 months.
All right.
Lightning strikes occur 10,000 times per summer. So I feel like it was more than that when the lightning hit my oak tree this summer and took my power out for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
That's the second lightning strike I've had in my backyard. So I wonder what I'm doing wrong.
Did it mess up any of your electrical components of the house?
Actually, it didn't. It dropped a tree on the power lines across the alley, making it Xcel Energy's responsibility. I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, you know what? House I grew up in got hit by lightning at least twice. Lightning will do some weird things to houses because you never know what circuits are going to get hit by it. So usually it's like the ones that you never think of. Yeah. And then maybe a year later you find out, oh, this thing doesn't work. Hey, the plug won't pull out. It's all fused. Huh. Oh yeah, lightning.
And I used to do back in college, I used to be like an inspector. So when these houses get hit by lightning, I would go there and like inspect items and stuff like that as a side gig. And what I came to realize, this was very odd, but this was just my own personal observation. A lot of times when these houses are hit by lightning and they have a lot of damages, more so than not, people are not in the house when it happens. That's what I came to realize. So out of every 10 inspections I would do, whenever I ask them, what were you guys when this happened? 9 out of 10 times, okay, maybe 9 is maybe 6 out of 10 times, the people are not at the property, which is something odd that I come to realize. I'm like, it's kind of strange. So it's very rare that it happened when the people are in the property. But most times when I ask them, okay, were you guys at the house? I'm like, no, either I was on vacation, I was at a friend's house, and whatever that situation was. So that was my own personal observation. I feel that was a little odd, but I don't know.
I was in my house when it got hit one of the times, and one of the times we weren't. And when it was very loud. And B, it was the first thing we noticed is shingles started almost raining from the sky. The lightning hit the roof of the house and it just shot some of the shingles up in the air. And they started coming down.
So Yeah, it's like lightning and hail season, and that brings the storm chasers, not the people that go out and film tornadoes, but the companies that fix roofs and the calls and the knocks on the door. And I didn't get hailed on, but there was hail like 3 miles north, and they got a bunch of hail. My buddy had roof damage, but man, they bugged me like every day for 2 months. I lost my patience.
Did they offer you a free inspection?
Absolutely. Everyone.
That's great.
Free inspection, but not a free quote.
Oh.
They will tell you whether or not your roof is damaged, and they can fix it, and then they'll work with your insurance company. But
that's strange.
They don't leave you with a quote because they don't want you comparison shopping or anything like that. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, and also to dig down on what I said earlier, how I used to work with the as going there and assess damages. We normally, these companies don't tell us what they're gonna do after. So you go assess the equipment. Okay, let's say the TV is down, the computers are down, the printers are down, and that's about it. We don't give any information to the client, nothing. All we tell them is, hey, speak to your insurance agent, and that's about it. So it's a very secretive process. They don't really want the client to know what's going on in the back end. All you can tell them is, hey, speak to your insurance agent, and that's about it. I'm gonna go give my report. They don't even tell you what they're gonna do with that report, if they're gonna reimburse or not. So it's a very the information that they give to the client is very limited. That's also one thing I came to realize. So I don't know if that's a tactic or anything, but yeah, they're very secretive about that.
It's deliberate. I don't know why. But I do know that reported Bigfoot sightings triple in the summertime.
Have either of you ever seen a Bigfoot?
I don't want to, I can't confirm nor deny that at this time.
I'll say that I've never seen.
I haven't either, only in movies and TV. And every time though I'm outside and I hear like a stick break or anything like that, I just assume that's Bigfoot. 40% more weddings happen.
Okay.
Craft beer consumption rises by 50%.
Yeah.
Summer and beer, they go together. Sunburn-related ER visits spike by 200%, which makes perfect sense. A third of the boat sales happen. Bike theft increases by 75%. State parks see 80% of their annual visitors. Farmers markets grow from 40 to 400. Motorcycle registrations are up. Reported UFO sightings double. Yeah, it makes sense. People are outside. You're going to see more UFOs. You're going to see more Bigfoot. It's just going to happen.
Now, is that in the cities or statewide?
This is statewide, I would say.
Okay.
I'm sure it varies across, but this was some statewide stuff I had pulled up. The loon population. Oh, go ahead.
So I did know there's a lot of, there's UFO sightings in Minnesota. Most times I hear about it like in Nevada, California, those southern states. I haven't heard of it up here.
I think it's mostly because of the amount of flights, perhaps. I think there's a lot more flying that happens. Air bases, and because they can fly year round without as much weather concern in the high desert, places like that. But who knows? Maybe UFOs are seasonal. They hibernate. Yeah. That could be.
Yeah.
Chase the good weather.
I don't know enough about them.
Maybe they ain't flying as much in the winter as well. They're inside.
Yeah. 90% of annual tick bites happen in the summer. 95% of cabin rentals are booked. The loon population swells to 12,000 pairs, and garage sales increase by 500%.
12,000 pairs of loons. That's all?
10,000 lakes. You don't,
okay.
Usually you see a couple loons per lake. The bigger the lake, the more loons you're going to see, but you don't see flocks of loons. They're very solitary. They live typically in pairs. They make a sound you can hear in every movie ever made where people are outside. You can hear loons, even though they're they're in this state. I don't know. I'm sure there's loons in Wisconsin and in this general area. But Paul, you like all the seasons, and there's different reasons to enjoy the seasons. To me, fall is like back to school time. It's like back to work, roll up the sleeves and really dig in and catch up, figure out the new stuff you got to do, planning. That all happens in the fall. There's just a lot of stuff. Winter, it depends for me. Now, Ian, how do you enjoy the cold? How long have you lived in the state?
I lived in the States for 10 years now.
Okay.
It's funny. I think actually today makes my exactly 10 years because I came around mid-August 2014. So the transition was a little difficult just because where I'm coming from, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, is actually one of the hottest cities in Africa. Like it's really up there. I believe it's probably like top five. It's really hot. And the first city that I landed in. Well, I first landed in Minneapolis, but the first city that I lived in was Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is one of the coldest cities in America. So the contrast was just, yeah, the contrast was just huge. Now, when you get in the summertime, you don't really feel the difference as much because it's summer and it's hot. And then, as winter comes in and then the cold weather comes in, that's when you start getting the full picture of it. I remember the first time I started getting cold, I go out to the mall and I buy a very light jacket. And I come back to the dormitory and I'm telling my roommate, like, I got something for the winter. And it's like, yeah, you're gonna die in that. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, I don't think you have any idea how cold it's gonna get. And so we go back to the mall and it gets me this really huge jacket. I'm like, in my head, I can't comprehend why I need such a big jacket because I've never been in a position where I need that. But yeah, once the winter came in, I'm like, oh boy, oh yeah. You never convinced me that anywhere outdoor would get that cold. Like, it was really boggling for me. Of course you see snow in the movies, whatever, but you never really, understand how cold it really is. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a culture shock for sure.
When you first experience like 100 below wind chill, it's a whole different world. I've snowmobiled. Yeah, wind chill. I've snowmobiled when it's 30 below. And, you're bundled up, face masks and helmets and heated handlebars and all that stuff, and then you're wearing layer after layer in the snowsuit and, you can't even put your arms down. You're walking around like the Michelin Man, who's that tire mascot. He's made of tires. Yeah. It's, I grew up, we were playing broom ball and you don't let the cold stop. You just have to plan for it and dress for it. You have to get your emergency kit in your car. You want to have your blanket and your extra, water and candy bars. My dad always gave us a candle in a coffee can, like that we could use for a heater. Just to, assuming that at some point all of his kids would go in the ditch in the middle of winter, he gave us each this box of stuff every year to put in our car. Jumper cables used to be a staple of every vehicle, but now that cars are more computerized and stuff, they're more susceptible to damage from improperly jumping your vehicle. Auto start's nice.
Well, I feel like you almost don't need jumper cables anymore. They've got those like jump starter, like those batteries. They can just keep one in your car.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, when I wasn't driving much, we have two cars. One's electric, one's gas. So the electric one's cheap to run and it's more fun. So the gas one, I'd almost never drive. And, once a month, maybe, sometimes less than that. Once you know it, every time I try and start it, the battery would be dead. So, yeah, those jump starters are, it's a great stocking stuff.
It's like heated garage it's hard to go from a heated garage to no garage. That was quite a transition. And the cold has quite an effect on your vehicle. I leave my Bluetooth thing plugged in and my truck doesn't shut off the cigarette lighter. I get out there and my battery would be dead. So I'd have to charge my battery. There's a lot of knowledge, I think, that it's like, so you're going to live in Minnesota. You should have a pamphlet should be given to you with all of this information about, winter survival. Staying in your vehicle is important. Yeah, it's too soon to talk about all that. When does summer stop for you guys?
When the leaves start falling off the trees, it's time's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when time's up. And I usually, that transition is a little rough just because, maybe not just for me. When the antigens are out there and there's a change of weather, there's pollen in the air, right? And that's what they call it allergy season, right? So then the allergies and stuff. So that really gets to me for sure. That really gets to me. So I know once that starts, I'm like, okay, now it's bye summer type of thing. So
yeah, I'm the same way. Pollen's no good.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of September after the state fair is over with. Like, to me, that kind of signals the beginning of fall. And then after the Renaissance is over with, like, it's definitely winter's coming.
The Renaissance, that's the Renaissance Festival.
Renaissance Festival.
Shakopee.
It's down toward Mankato. It's like halfway between here and Mankato.
Okay. Now, what do you like to do at the Renaissance Festival?
That's where I get my wallet. Yeah.
What do you mean?
And I'm due for a new one. It's been a while. There's a leather stand. They make all these different leather goods. And I've been getting my wallet there for, I don't know, 40 years.
Okay.
But axe throwing and juggling, they have like an open, juggling area where anybody that juggles can go and juggle together, and they usually have somebody that's a pretty good juggler. There's a few acts. I haven't been in a while to know if they're still there, but there was a guy that did a sort of a high wire juggling act, and then when he wasn't doing that, he'd swing by the juggling area and give some tips out to people and stuff. There's a lot of shows. There's great food. It's the only place I've ever had mead, which makes me feel like I'm in the old timey. But I don't dress up. Some people do.
What do you mean dress up? Like costumes?
Like you're in the, I don't know what the century is. The medieval times. They have jousting out there. Angela has a booth. They make nuts. They make these different flavored nuts out there, and they're fantastic. So we get to sample those at the office every year because she brings some in. A lot of, pottery. I just think it's cool. It's a cool place just to walk around and see stuff. And I like it, but I haven't been in a while. It's kind of a group thing. It's more fun to go with a group. State Fair, I think I'm going to go to this year. I haven't been in a while. I worked there 2 seasons selling hot dogs.
Oh, nice.
So
regular hot dogs?
Regular hot dogs. Yeah. Fountain pop, regular hot dogs, and French fries. That's all we did.
Pretty good business?
Yeah. It was great. And I would go around and trade food with the other booths. So across from us, we had the Taco King. So I could go over there and get tacos. And I just walk up with a big bunch of hot dogs and go, hey, do you want to trade some hot dogs for ice cream cone? Yeah. So that was fun. I know the guy that owns the biggest beer, whatever they call it, beer garden. And his kids, adult kids would bartend. A good place to score a free beer. All you can drink milk.
Nice. One of those hot fall days. You don't want to just knock back a few pints.
Cup of clam chowder and knock back a few mugs of milk.
Crazy. Yeah.
Well, they put them right by the cookies, though.
Oh, yeah. Those are nice. The cookies are nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. The first thing I go for at the fair is the Phillies at, I think it's Andy's Grill, which is right by the beer garden, which is near the milk stand. Pork chop on a stick is the same people that own the hot dog stand I worked for. Those are fantastic. Buddy of mine that I worked with at Main Street Bar and Grill, his family owns the tubing ride.
It's nice.
Which I won't go on. I don't want to get wet unless it's raining. And I have to, but I don't want to walk around with, in wet clothes.
I think it depends on the weather. If it's one of those 90-degree early fall days, I'll go on that ride.
The Midway, do you guys go to the Midway and just give your money away on stupid games?
No, I don't do that. No.
There's no definition of winning on that, because you spend money, and best case scenario, you have nothing to show for it. If you win one of those prizes, then that's more responsibility. You might have a gigantic stuffed animal that you have to take care of for the rest of the day.
That's why you bring a date, because then you can give it to her and say, here you go.
True.
And she can carry it around
until she gets tired of it and says, "No, it's your."
And then
turn.
You have to, along with all the other stuff you're carrying around. I like to see the animals. Just something about a just gigantic pig.
Big pig.
It's just a sight to behold. It's like, wow. I'm just, I want to desensitize myself for when the Canadian wild pigs make it across the border and start infiltrating northern Minnesota. So far, the DNR has kept them at bay, but
that'll be interesting. I wonder how they'll interact with the wolf packs. Will they be friends? Will they?
I feel like
will they be enemies, or will they team up against us?
I think they're gonna fight at first, but then gain each other's respect, and then form these super packs where you get, both. And maybe a wolf riding a pig coming at you, like jousting, is not going to be very far off in the evolutionary progress of northern Minnesota.
You paint a bleak picture, Kyle.
It's all food. Yeah. Hopefully the wolves, they'll survive, have something to eat. Wolves add a lot to the ecosystem. I know at Yellowstone when they reintroduced the wolves, it had a really positive impact on the ecosystem because it helped control the deer caribou population, which helped the vegetation, and that helped. It's all connected. It's an ecosystem. Yeah. So do you have any plans yet for the summer?
Well, summer is almost ending, but yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, a lot of times people use summer for traveling. People take PTO. That's basically what I've been doing. I have, I think, one more trip planned out before summer, concludes. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it falls in line with, using all the PTO that you can, that you have available, and, taking those trips that you wouldn't take during the winter. Yeah, traveling, seeing the world. So that's kind of like my thing for the summer. And I have a couple planned as well. So yeah.
I think, I'm probably going snorkeling, on Sunday with my little brother.
Okay.
There's some really clear lakes, and I grew up swimming and stuff, and now I'm very buoyant. So for me, snorkeling is very easy and relaxing and fun because I like seeing fish. I went snorkeling in Cancun, though, and a fish was very angry with me and kept lunging at me, and it was like this big. And eventually it scared me out of the water, like the chipmunk that lives under my car. Yeah. So as we wind down, obviously, Peter wasn't able to join us, so that's unfortunate, but it's good that he's fighting fires, getting some stuff done. Yeah, my wrap-up, I guess, my final parting thought would be get that list. That's your summer bucket list, all those things. And then you've had a full Minnesota summer, and there's one of those lists for every season, things to do to really, I think, enjoy the state. I think it's, I love living up here. I've lived in Texas, New Mexico, North Dakota, and this is by far my favorite place.
Nice.
High praise.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah. Ian, you like it here?
I do. I mean, there's pros and cons. To it. What I do love is definitely the people. I mean, I've been to other cities as well. So, I've done some comparisons. I like that we don't have as much traffic as other cities. I love that I can get from point A to point B in less than an hour. I mean, less than 30 minutes. I was in LA a couple weeks ago, and that's going to take you a while from point A to point B. So I got to appreciate how, I would say, medium-sized of a city, we live in, and it's easy for you to get from point A to point B. The winter's not as much, but it's part of the cons. I was talking to Paul at the office yesterday, and he was telling me a couple activities that I can do during the winter. So I'll be excited to try those once it starts snowing. But generally, I think it's a good state from the other states that I've been in. I think it's a good place to live, and the winter, that's nature. You can't really have control on that. So, but other than that, other aspects of it is something that I've gotten to love.
And Paul, I know you have a backyard luge for your dog in the wintertime. It sounds like you fully enjoy every aspect of the state.
I try to, like Ewan was saying, that everything's got pros and cons, and just try and make the most out of the good stuff, and try and lessen the damage on the bad stuff.
And the whole reason for this podcast is I'm trying to get my sister to move back from. She left as soon as it got cold when she was young, and has not been back. So, she's visited. But it'd be great to see my nephews more, because there's way more Lego projects out there that we can do. And nephews are an excuse to be a kid again. Not that I need that, but thank you for joining us and talking about the weather.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you. That was a nice one. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I think with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time. Say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Solution Design Group is a digital product consultancy in Minneapolis. Check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com, or look for us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Solution Design Group.